So how exactly does a remarkably Earth-like super dynamic world just completely transform into a freezing, barren desert? Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving deep into the staggering planetary evolution of Mars. Over the next few minutes, we're going to unpack the whole shebang, the incredible rise, the dramatic fall, and the very real future of the red planet. Because honestly, understanding what happened to Mars isn't just about cataloging rocks and dust, right? It's about grasping the absolute delicate balance required for a planet to actually survive. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so planet number 4. Being the fourth rock from the sun puts Mars right in our immediate celestial backyard. Now, look, as someone who follows space exploration, I know you already know its position in the solar system. But that number 4, it's absolutely crucial because of what it physically implies. It sits just outside our own orbit, meaning naturally it gets a lot less sunlight and warmth than Earth does. But proximity to the sun is really only part of the story here. Its current freezing state? No way was that its original reality. The story of planet number 4 is this incredibly powerful testament to how deeply and fundamentally an entire planetary environment can just flip.
To really wrap our heads around that change, we've got to wind the clock way back, billions of years back, to a seriously chaotic and energetic beginning. Mars didn't just, quietly pop into existence. It actually started out as this massive, turbulent cloud of tiny dust and rock particles just swirling around the violent early solar system. And over a massive stretch of time, the invisible hand of gravity started doing the heavy lifting. It steadily pulled all these tiny fragments together, literally smashing them into larger and larger rocks. Following this massive, fiery process of planetary accretion, Mars was officially born. But, and this is a big but, the planet that emerged from that cosmic forge would be entirely unrecognizable to us today. Because that newly formed world, that represents the true rise of Mars. Young Mars was hot, it was highly active, and just incredibly dynamic. Far from the dead rock we think of, it was basically a bubbling cauldron of geological activity. We were talking massive volcanoes erupting constantly all over the surface, and a really thick, protective atmosphere blanketing the whole globe. And crucially, this is the crazy part, it had abundant liquid water. We actually know this for sure because planetary science has found ancient, dried-up riverbeds and specific mineral deposits that literally can only form if water is present. Just imagine a world that basically mirrored the conditions of a young Earth. The environment was shielded from the harshness of space, and the planet was physically vibrant. But that vibrant world didn't last, and the transformation it went through? That's what we call the fall of Mars. The contrast here is stark, and honestly, a little somber. We go from this thriving planet with a thick atmosphere and flowing water straight to today's reality, a cold, barren desert that completely lost its atmosphere. So how does that even happen? Well, over time, the planet took an absolute beating from violent asteroid impacts, but the actual fatal blow came from within. As the planet's core cooled down, Mars essentially lost its internal dynamo, which totally shut down its global magnetic field. And without that magnetic shield to deflect the fierce radiation of the sun, the relentless solar wind literally stripped that thick, protective atmosphere right off into deep space. The heat escaped, the liquid water either evaporated or froze solid, and that active, bubbling world just went completely quiet.
Yet, even in this dormant state, the sheer, mind-boggling scale of the current Martian landscape is awe-inspiring. I mean, sure, it might be a dead desert today, but it boasts some of the most extreme geography we have ever discovered in our solar system. Take Olympus Mons, for example. This isn't just a big volcano, it's a real behemoth. It is roughly the size of the entire state of Arizona, and it stands almost 3 times the height of Mount Everest. Insane, right? And then you've got Valles Marineris, literally the solar system's largest canyon system, which carves this massive scar thousands of miles across the planet's face. Alongside these vast polar ice caps and incredibly deep valleys, these giant geographical monuments are basically the silent frozen remnants of that highly active past. They are towering reminders of the absolute powerhouse geological forces that once ruled the planet.
But hey, the story definitely isn't over. We are actually right in the middle of witnessing the rebirth of Mars. Right this very second, highly advanced robotic explorers are actively rolling across that dusty red surface. They are essentially our mechanical detectives, quite literally, digging into the dirt to study its ancient past. They're out there analyzing those deep valleys and giant craters, actively searching for any microscopic signs of past life that might have existed back when the planet was warm and wet. Every single scrape of a robotic arm, every data point beamed back across millions of miles of space, it all helps us piece together this giant puzzle of the red planet. Mars is no longer just some closed subject in a dusty astronomy textbook. It is a very real, ongoing frontier of human-led exploration.
Which brings us to the ultimate kind of staggering question here. All of this history, the chaotic planetary accretion, that vibrant youth, the totally devastating loss of its magnetic field and atmosphere, and our current robotic detective work, it's all pointing directly toward our own future. The insights we're gathering today are absolutely laying the groundwork for tomorrow, as we really learn how planetary environments function and, well, how they fail. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought. If Mars is basically a cautionary tale of a planet that lost its ability to support life, what is it going to take for humanity to reverse engineer a dead world and actually make it our second home? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep your eyes on the stars, stay curious, and I'll catch you next time.